Sunday morning. I filled in all your notes for this week. All right, so point. Do you remember flat line? Me, 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 me. That was the point. Remember? Sort of? All right, I know it was a few days ago. So a point has no dimension. It's just represented by this with a letter usually next to it. It's usually how you'll see it. And to name it, we just call it point A. Okay, so if a point has no dimension, what do you think a line has? How many dimensions? One. A line has one dimension. Remember, you're freaking me out, dude. That was the line, right? Because you couldn't see beyond his one dimension there. So this is how you'll see a line drawn. So I want you to draw a line like this. You'll often see 2 points, sometimes more. And sometimes there'll be a letter. That's an L. That's a cursive L. Come here. Yeah. The filled out ones are there and the blank ones are there. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. So one dimension. This is how you name it. So you might name it by the letter outside here. So it would be line L. That's one way to name that line. The other way is using the letters with a symbol for line. Okay? So I might say AB and then put an actual line with arrows above it. That tells me we're talking about line AB. You have to have the arrows on top. Okay, the other way is you could also name it line BA. Doesn't matter. Line L, line AB, line BA. Those are all ways to name that line. Cool? All right, a plane. So a plane is like this, sort of. It's flat. But it goes forever, which is hard to imagine. Okay? But we're just going to draw a smaller one because we can't draw one that goes forever. A plane is 2 dimensions. It goes forever. We just won't be able to ever draw that, so you won't see it as one that goes forever. And this is how I normally will draw a plane, kind of like a parallelogram, sort of. And then you'll often see a letter here. I just put an M there. And you have to have at least 3 points on a plane. So I'm going to just put 3 points. It doesn't matter where. And I'm going to label them, I know this is small, A, C, B. A, C, B. So notice the difference between these have points, this has just a letter. It's all about the naming. Okay, so to name this plane, you could say plane M. Or you could use the letters where the points are. Plane ABC or CBA or BCA. Doesn't matter. Or plane ABC. Cool? Okay, segment. Does anybody know what a segment is? Okay, well, let's draw one. There's a segment. How is it different than this picture right here? I'm sorry, what? It ends. It's a piece of a line, basically, is what it is. It's part of a line with endpoints. Well, not always, but this says endpoints. A and B. Sometimes it'll be different letters, obviously. That says endpoints. Sorry, that's hard to read. So naming this. Basically, you use the letters, but the symbol cannot have arrows on it because the arrows represents a what? Line. So you just do a line above, and that represents segment. Well, when I say line, I don't mean a line with arrows. I mean you just do this little thing right there above it, AB. Or you could do it BA. Either way. Segment AB, segment BA. Does anybody know what array is? Yeah.
It's like a line that ends on one side, but
It does. That's a ray of sunshine. Okay? But it also always has another point, usually. So I'm going to say A and B. So array has one endpoint. And you name it by starting at the endpoint, always. By starting at the endpoint. So this one would be, you just draw a little mini ray, and your first letter has to be the endpoint. AB. Make sense? Ray AB. Okay. Opposite rays. So now let's draw a line. And I'm going to put an A here, a C here, and a B here. So what we actually have is we have a pair of opposite rays. These are opposite rays. If I look at it this way, can you see that different color, sort of? And then this way, I have opposite rays. So let's name them. So this ray right here, ray CA, because I'm starting from this end and going that direction. The C is the end point. And then here, ray CB tells me it starts at C and goes this way. Does that make sense? And are opposite rays. And then here's a new word. Opposite rays are collinear. Opposite rays are collinear. So you're learning a bunch of geometry terms today. What does collinear mean, do you think? What word is in there that you recognize? Linear, which means line. What do you think collinear means? On the same line, basically. On the same line, okay? So collinear points are points that lie on the same line. Since these rays are made up of collinear points, they're called opposite rays. Oh, coplanar points. Coplanar, what do you think that means? Points that what? On the same plane. Yep. Points on the same plane. Okay, and then intersection. So you've seen this word before. Figures, since we're in geometry, we're going to say figures intersect if they have one or more points in common. So let's say this is a plane. It's hard to hold it very flat. And then I put my pen through it, if I can, pencil through it. So basically, they intersect at that point, don't they? Plane and a line intersect at a point, correct? Okay. Now what if we had two planes intersecting? Two planes intersecting. Do they intersect at a point or a whole bunch of points? A whole bunch of points. So if two planes intersect, they intersect at a line, and you would have to name the line. Make sense? That's a line right there, isn't it, where they intersect? Okay? All right, so turn it over. So you're going to have to start naming things using this terminology that we just covered. Okay, so it says give two other names for line BD. So right here is where we're looking. Here's BD, right? You see B here? So they're talking about this line right here. What's one other way to name that line? Yes? Nope. That's not one way we did it. We could flip the letter. Well, no, because BA is talking about this line. DB. Switch the letters. Okay, just switch the letters. If it's a line, it's still the same line if you switch the letters. Now, look at the picture. What else do you think is relating to that line? What letter? M. See how it's a lowercase? And on the back side here, I did say you could also name it by the letter that's next to it. So you would say line M. Okay? Give another name for plane T. So here's the T up here. See, there's no point by it. So that means they're talking about the plane here. And when you name a plane, you have to use 3 letters, 3 points. Either you use this letter right here, or you name it with 3 points. How many points are on this plane?
4.
So you can choose any 3 of them. Okay? So it doesn't matter. So I would just say, okay, I'm going to choose any 3. So I'm going to say A, F, C. Doesn't matter. You could do them in any order, just as long as you're using 3 points on the plane. It could be BFC. It doesn't matter. So make a note to yourself, any 3 points on the plane, if you can't remember. Okay, name 3 points that are collinear. Collinear means what? In the same line, and there's only a certain 3 you can name here. There's not more than one answer here. Do you see it? First of all, let's look at this line. Is M considered a point? No. So the only other line I have here, and I have A, B, and C. So in this instance, you can just write A, comma, B, comma, C, comma, or C. Okay, name 4 points that are coplanar, meaning they're on the same what? Plane. Again, we have 4 points we know of, so I'm just going to name all 4 of those points. I'm just going to write the points A, comma, B, comma, C, comma, and what? F. Cool? Okay. Give another name for segment PR. What's another name for segment PR? Yeah, when it's a segment here, you can just switch the letters. Segment RP. Name all the rays with endpoint Q, meaning Q is the starting point. How many rays come off a Q? 4. So we've got to name them all. This doesn't matter which one you start with. I started with QP. Ray QP. And then I have ray QS. Ray what? QT. Cutie. Isn't that cute? And ray QR. So which of these are opposite rays? Meaning they're on the same what? line. So we have two pairs of opposite rays. QP, what's the opposite ray to QP? QR. And then the other pair would be QS and what? QD. All right, so not only do you have to identify from pictures, you have to sketch pictures too. I know some people this is easy, some people it's not so easy, but we can do it. All right? Sketch a plane and two intersecting lines that intersect the plane at separate points. So I'm going to start by sketching a plane, kind of like a parallelogram. Doesn't say I have to name it, so I'm just sketching the plane. And then two intersecting lines that intersect the plane at different points. All right, well, so that means I'm going to draw a line. Now be careful. I'm going to show that it enters the plane here, and then I'm going to dash it and show that it comes out down there. So this is the part behind the plane. Now I have to do an intersecting line, so I'm probably going to have to do that one on an angle. Also, I'm going to do it with a different color. Oh, it's intersecting and it's hitting the plane here, dash, 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 and comes out the other side. Oh, I forgot my little arrow. Make sense? They intersect each other, we'll say right here, and they hit the plane at different spots. So just read what they're asking and give it a try. If it doesn't work the first time, do it again. Sketch a plane and two intersecting lines that lie in the plane. Okay, I can do that. Here's a plane. I'm going to draw a line right on here, and I'm going to show that it's on the plane with some points. And then it doesn't really matter, just draw another line like here. Let's represent that with point C and maybe point D here. Make sense? Sketch two planes that do not intersect in a line. How would that look? Those planes have to be what? If they're never going to intersect, because planes go forever, they have to be what? They have to be parallel. So just try your best to make it look like they're parallel, like one right on top of another. Okay, and then the last thing is sketch two planes that do intersect in a line. Okay, so I'm just going to draw this. And then I'm going to try and like draw that tipped up. So I sort of do this, and then I come down here like that. That's the top part. And then I do an intersection line. Come down a little bit. You know, it's kind of tricky. Sort of like that. Yeah, it's tricky, isn't it? And it intersects at this line right here. So I'll just, you don't have to, but I'm just drawing a line so you can see that's a line, I guess. Yeah? Doable.